Hey there, Matt. Hope you're doing well, and hope your trip's going good. And I bet there's all kinds of crazy good music happening. That's happening probably this evening, right as we speak. Cool. So I got this is your video lesson. There are four things I want to talk about. I sent along the notes along with the video. So if you have any questions about anything at the end or want to touch base with anything, feel free to shoot me a message back with any questions you might have, and I'd be more than happy to answer. I'll just go right down the list, and like I said, if you have questions at the end, please feel free to ask me. So first things first, I'm going to start with A minor pentatonic scales. I have your notes here, and it sounds like things are going well with going up and down. Or connecting all five boxes. You see, I have my 8-string today, and so hopefully this bottom two won't mess with you. But with the pentatonic, it sounds like you've been doing pretty well with going through. Right, going through and connecting those. What I want you to do now that you're like kind of starting to connect the boxes in a zigzag pattern, I think you're doing it both ways. Like sometimes you might want to start on the low string, and sometimes you want to start on the high string. And then shift up. It'll give you a different pattern each time, obviously. Now that that's happening for you, what I want you to do now is I want you to do 1-string pentatonic scales. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is what notes are in A minor pentatonic, and I think you might already even know that, but if you don't know, just go through the scale and just name the notes out. I believe you knew them pretty well last time, but I think you figured it out. You're a smart guy. So go ahead and write those down. I'm not going to tell you, just in case you don't know them. It's more fun for you to figure them out than for me to spoon feed you. So go ahead and write down those notes that are in the pentatonic scale. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start on the 2nd string. So you're going to go to the 2nd string, and you're simply just going to go up that string and just find those notes. And what I like to do is a 1-finger approach. I did this with Sean McGowan when I was studying with him. I was asking him like how he taught his students how to figure out the notes across the fretboard. And what he always said was that that students would start playing, like, say, on the 6th string, or there we go, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, and all of a sudden they get bogged down in fingerings, or trying to figure out like what finger to use next. He's like, we're not about speed at this point. We're just trying to figure out what notes we're playing. So he was a big advocate of 1-finger approach. So I'm going to do this on the 1st string, so that way it won't ruin your homework assignment. So what I'll do on the first string, I'll play it. Right, so I want you to do 2nd string, but I'll do it on the 1st string. So you have your 1st string, let's play it open, all right? And then I go to the next note in the pentatonic scale. I'm not gonna tell you the note name just because it's more fun for you to think about it. And then I go, okay, there's the next one, right? Because I've written it down and I figure out what the notes are across that string, so I'm kind of following that. And then, okay, here's the next one. And what I'll do as I do that, I'll figure out like kind of like where my finger goes first. And then what I'll do is I'll say the note name out loud as I play it. I think that's super useful. So I might go, okay, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, back to A. And I'll just practice saying the note names out loud. Because I know one thing you want to get better is kind of filling in that dark spot right there. This is an approach I use on these bottom 2 strings, the low strings. When 1st string, when I had to play 8th string, it was sort of like a mystery. I use the Tosin Abasi tuning, which is a low E right here, and I would literally just practice going like, you know, E, 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 or E, E, right? And then what I would do is practice like doing like a pentatonic scale on 1 string. So I'd do like, and then back down again. And I would say the note names out loud as I did it. And then I would kind of do the jumping exercise I just showed you. But I think that's like really helpful in trying to figure out like the note names on there. Saying them out loud. And using 1 finger so you don't get bogged down in fingers. We'll do that in a second, but first thing, just figure out where the connecting that scale across the string. This is the way that my teacher Maurice would say with Alan Holdsworth, and this I would ask Maurice like, well, how did he teach his students the note names and how to navigate across the fretboard? And he said He was a big advocate of one string approach, just doing one string at a time, figure out that scale across the entire string. So like learn the box first and then try to connect them this way on one string. Don't worry so much about trying to do, that kind of thing. Just get used to doing it on one string and then you can connect them after you get a few strings under your belt. So if I go through that string on the first string one more time, is not to ruin your homework assignment. Good. So go A minor pentatonic. I'll be saying the note names out loud as I do it. Right, and then once I can do that, we're comfortably up and down, so you should be able to go backwards too. Let's go back to school. So once you can do that, that's when you can start thinking about maybe like using the first and third or first and fourth, kind of whichever you decide. Like I said, my teacher used to use 3 and 4 interchangeably depending on the situation, what guitar he's playing. So feel free to kind of experiment with that. So if I were doing this, I would go. I might mix it up too. I might go. Wait a minute, that sounds awful lot like something. That's for another day though. First thing is just figure out where they are and then try to put maybe like a first and third finger. Right? And then later on what we'll do. Huh. Anyway, so mess around with those. Number 2, the second thing I want to talk about are forming cage chords. So I imagine that E form, A form, and probably the D form are probably not that difficult for you. The ones that give people the most trouble is going to be G form and C form. So what I'd like you to do this week is focus just on one of them. If you get bored, you can do another one too. Just focus on C form. So when I was in school, we all had to take piano, and it was a class I dreaded. I did not enjoy practicing piano. It's miserable for me. I much rather practice this. But I had a cool piano teacher. She was cool, and she's like I think it was like a Russian lady or something like that, and she would play Rachmaninoff, all these huge chords. And I asked her one day, I was like watching her play these like enormous like stretchy chords and like these abstract shapes and things like that. And I was like, how do you remember how to do that? How does that work for you? And what she said was that she would do an exercise called lift and hold, where her fingers, she tried to like have like she'd work on her muscle memory from one thing to the next. I'll give you the first part of it today, and then we can talk about the second part next time. So I would take an abstract chord, like say something like this, right? This C major 7 first inversion, right? And that would be difficult for me, right? And so what I would practice is I would first get like, right, get everyone in place, and the next thing I would do is I would hold the shape. I would lift out. So I'm not like dropping my thumb or anything like that. My thumb is staying in place. I'm literally just lifting my fingers away from the fretboard ever so slightly. So I'm not lifting very much here, and then I lift my fingers out and I try to hold that shape in midair. Right? And this is what she would do. She said you lift her chords out, she would hold them in midair, and then she would hold them for like the count of 10 or something. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then she would try to get them all to land at the same time. So avoiding the one finger kind of thing. So she'd drop her chord in place and then lift it. And I do the chords with this guitar too. So if I'm trying to do something like crazy, something like this right here, it doesn't feel quite natural to me yet, I'll lift and hold. I'm feeling the burn, and then I try to drop them all right where they're supposed to. Oh, can I do it? Yes, I can do it. All right, so I got that. Oop, someone's not right. There you go. Practice. My 8-string chords. So take a C form chord, or say C form C chord because you're in the key of A minor, and I'll take that chord. So the one you'll be doing is this one here. Just ignore these guys. And I got my C form right here, root 5, and I'll play that. All right, and I'll lift lift it out, and I'll hold. I'll try to keep it, so sometimes you'll want to kind of like do this. You try your best. So if 10 seconds is too long, lift out for 2 or 3 seconds, and then gradually make that time longer in between. So I'll have it here, and I'll lift and hold, and then drop all at the same time. It's a success, right? We'll talk about part 2 of that next time. All right, next thing is a 4-note sequence. 4-note sequences, I think you said 3 notes pretty easy, 4 notes kind of a little slow going right now. So what I would suggest you do is go ahead and pick your favorite box. Everyone likes box 1, so I'm gonna start there. And what I would do is chunk out the 4-note sequences. So I would not try running the whole thing all in one go. What I would do is I'll take 2 patterns of the 4-note sequence. I'll go the first one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go, okay, my last is my first. Bam. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would only just do that much. 1, 2, 3, 4, back again. 1, 2, 3, 4, until I could do slowly. Last is my first. So like I said before, that tempo manipulation where you slow down at the change. Yeah, so you're showing off, right? And just work on that spot right there. And then when that felt good, I'll go on to the next set. And then, let's see, and then my last is my first. And then do the same procedure that way. So kind of play it really slow, make sure I know like those 2 patterns really well, and then try to burst it, try to go a little faster. We can talk about bursting another day, getting our fingers to go faster. And then lastly, the other thing I want to talk about is hammer notes from nowhere. We're about out of time, that's about the half hour, but what I want you to do is isolate the weak fingers. Probably 3 and 4, I would imagine. And what you want is consistency, not speed. So now that you're going through and you kind of figure out where the weak spots are, now what you want to do is isolate those weak spots and kind of like really put some concentrated effort in there. So you don't need to run the exercise. Now what you do is you work out the muscles. First thing you do is you take the, let me start the zoom in for the next guy. And so what you'll do is you'll take that 3 and 4 and you'll take that hammer, right? You get on the 3rd finger and no magic or anything like that, right? This is like a $25 Marshall Watt amp in the very next guitar. But all that, they could probably hear that outside the room, right? Because what I'm doing, what I've practiced, is I'm landing on the square, I'm swinging square on the tip of my finger every single time. I'm trying to go slow, land it, every single, oh, I missed. Every single time, laying in the same spot. I'm putting enough force through that hammer. Like I want to put my finger through the back of this neck is how hard I'm hitting it. So you're going for consistency, landing on the same spot every single time. There's no deviation from where I'm landing. That took a long time. There we go, I shouldn't talk too soon. And put that finger through the back of the neck is what you want to do. All right, cool, man. So we're out of time, so we'll continue on with that thought for next week. Not next week, in 2 weeks, because I'll be out for next week. Like I said, got questions, shoot them over to me. More than happy to answer them. Have a great trip back, and I'll see you next lesson. Bye.